May the Lord give this council the wisdom, discernment and courage to serve the community. Grant also that we may act compassionately and in integrity in the best interest of this Shire. Through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen. I would like to show respect and acknowledge the traditional owners and custodians of the land and elders past, present and future on which this meeting takes place. Thank you, councillors. Councillors, please be reminded this meeting is being recorded and live streamed on YouTube. Could all councillors please ensure they use their microphones when speaking? Application for attending the meeting by video link.
Nil, Mr Mayor.
Applications or apologies for leave of absence by councillors.
Yes, we have an application for for apology from Councillor Taya Clout.
Mover Councillor Williamson, second Councillor Stoltz. All in favour? Against? Carried. Public participation.
Nil, Mr Mayor.
Nil. Confirmation of the minutes of the ordinary council meeting held on the 25th of May 2026. A mover, Councillor McGill. A seconder, Councillor Shields. Any questions, comment? No. All in favour? Against? Is carried. Disclosure of interest.
Mr Mayor, I've got one disclosure of interest from Councillor Fraser. It's in regard to item G 6.2, the sewage developer charges. He states he has a non-pecuniary, non-significant interest as he is related to an interested party of the proponent, but he will remove himself from all decision making.
Thank you. Okay, council, we'll move straight over to page 12. And the rescission motion of the 2025 Model Code of Meeting Practice. There's 2 points of recommendation. Got a mover, Councillor McGill, second to Councillor Fraser. I'd imagine there's going to be a comment or a debate, or we're all happy to... Let's do it. Okay, all in favour? Against? Thought that might be the way. Straight into page 13. In recognition of length of service, 20 years for Zachary Akers and David Kilroy. They're not here, councillors, but Councillor Ryan is going to help me out and he's going to just read out that couple of reports. Thank you, councillor.
Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Just before we do, I'll move that from the table. Thank you. You're right.
Yep, thank you. Zachary Akers joined council in August 2006. His career has seen him work across several departments, starting with sewerage and water as a field officer. He then tried his hand in other departments, including store person at the Scone Depot, operator, concreter and field officer with works delivery, before his current role with Parks and Facilities team as a medium plant operator, where his knowledge and experience has continued to be highly valued. Throughout his 2 decades with council, Zach has demonstrated a strong work ethic, reliability and a willingness to contribute wherever needed. Zach's versatility and commitment have enabled him to successfully support a wide range of council operations, helping to deliver essential services and maintain community assets across the Shire, including irrigation systems and field maintenance. His extensive expertise, practical knowledge and positive approach have made him a respected colleague and a valuable member of the council team. Zach also completed his Cert 3 horticulturalist course in 2025. Reaching 20 years of service is a significant milestone and reflects Zach's dedication to the public service and his ongoing contribution to the Upper Hunter Shire Council. So congratulations to Zach. We have a second length of service acknowledgement for David Kilroy. Joined council in 2006 as part of the bridge crew. He later spent time with the water and sewer team, and during that time Dave worked with the team who replaced all water mains across Aberdeen and Scone, which was a very big job. Dave then moved to construction crew and became part of the Barrington Tops Road project. This was the largest project he has worked on during his time with council, and one that he thoroughly enjoyed being involved in. Fast forward to recent times, Dave has had the privilege of joining what he proudly considers the best team in council, the resource recovery team. Today, Dave can be found at either the Scone or Aberdeen waste facilities, where he assists customers at the weighbridge and helps maintain the sites to ensure they continue to operate efficiently. Dave says, "I enjoy working with mates at council, working in a team that give a positive vibe and that looks out for each other. I'm thankful I have found the crew I have today. So once again, congratulations to Zach and also to Dave on successful careers so far and their achievements over the past 20 years.
Thank you, Councillor Ryan, and yeah, congratulations to both. Thank you, Councillor. I moved that from the table, but just a vote of all in favour. Yep, against, it's carried. Thank you. Go over to page 14 is infrastructure services. Got a mover. Move Councillor McPhee, seconded Councillor Ryan. Any questions, comment? No. All in favour? Against is carried. Over to page 18, the Corporate Services Committee. 3 parts of the recommendation. Move Councillor Shields. Seconder, Councillor Williamson. Questions, comment?
Comment.
Councillor McPhee.
I'd just like to say that although I was not there in person, I did listen to this in my own time as it's on YouTube. So I'd like to just remind the chair that even though we're not there, despite his comment that we're not involved and not listening, that we are in fact paying attention. So just wanted to bring that to the fore.
Thank you. No more questions, comment? No. All in favour? Against is carried. Over to page 27, Community Advisory Committee of Aberdeen. Move up. Move Councillor Shields. Second up. Councillor McGill. Any questions, comment, discussion? No. All in favour? Against is carried. Over to Community Advisory Committee of Merriwar District, 2 parts of the recommendation. Move Councillor Ryan, seconder, Councillor Stoltz. Questions, comment? Councillor Stoltz.
Mr Mayor, I've got not actually anything related to the meeting itself, but this is unusual. But I'd like to acknowledge the passing of our long-term pharmacist, Mark Robert Smith. Quite an interesting tenure in Merriwar as our pharmacist, and one that shouldn't go unrecognised, Mr Mayor. He came to Merriwar in 1965, married a year later in Merriwar. He worked in the Campbell's store, which is now IGA, in the pharmacy section there. He came in to manage that, and thus his journey in the pharmacy into his own business in Merriwar in 1976, which is he was operating out of the Shop 3 of the Royal Hotel Merriwar, and eventually made his way down to the current location in Beddington Street next to IGA where, in the mid-80s, where he remained until 2008 when he retired. But he didn't retire, Mr Mayor. He stayed on as a locum after some 43 years as a Merriwar pharmacist. So when he handed his licence back in 2023, he'd been on the pharmacy list for 58 years. So significant, massive contribution to Merriwar. I only got the pleasure of knowing him for a short time. Councillor Ryan would have had more contact over his time in Merriwar. But it is in good hands, the pharmacy. It's been passed over to his son Robert, who now has been operating it for a significant amount of time. And yeah, Vale Mark Robert Smith. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Stoltz, and I thank you for asking me in the room a while ago how you could bring this up without any other way, and we stretched it a little bit, but I can see you were certainly passionate about doing it, so well done to you there. So we've got a move and we've got a seconder, we've got another speaker, Councillor Ryan.
Just a very quick comment to the minutes themselves. I'd just like to acknowledge that although it was very unusual for us not to have a quorum at our Merriwar CAC, I suggest it's probably just a scheduling and timing issue for some of those attendees, but I'd just like to thank those members of the community that did actually attend that session. It's always good to see people taking interest in what we're doing at council and to come along in their own time and back up the submissions that they made, which were reasonably extensive. So thank you to those people.
Thank you, Councillor Ryan. I'll just make one comment on the committee advisory committees. I think the chairs need to put it across very strongly at their next meeting that we need RSVPs. We need RSVPs. Staff have got mostly a fair trip, and so councillors. So if we don't get a quorum, there's not much use having the meeting really. So maybe if all the chairs just take it back and say, please, it's not that hard, RSVP. Thank you. Can you speak?
No,
Sure.
I'm poised.
Okay, that's fine. We've got a mover, we've got a seconder. All in favour? Against is carried. We go down to the Marundi on page 39. Community Advisory Committee. Same there, I believe. The recommendation, got a mover, is Councillor McGill, second to Councillor Ryan. Questions, comment, Mr McGill?
Poised, as I said. One thing is to thank Mr Pringle. The Firefox gentleman was most interesting. I think there was a lot of information he gave to us on that occasion that really should be shared more widely across the community, but he certainly convinced me, for one, about their importance, so that was very valuable. Another thing that happened during our meeting was discussion about the Paradise Lane tank, which is one of the remaining assets from the Murrurundi Dam, the decommissioning of that, and I note that the minutes talk about us publicising that to see if there's any community interest in taking over that block of land for some community-based purpose. Other than that, then council will go to another way of disposing of that block of land. So I certainly encourage that to go forward, because I believe there are some people in the community who do have an interest in creating some viable asset up there for the community. On the other front, I have expressed concern before, and I'll express it again. The Depop, adding it to the CAC, seems to be a bad move. It seems to drive people away from the CAC meetings, where out of 4 CAC meetings, 3 did not have a quorum, and the common thread is the Depop, and my recollection is that last year we had the same issue. I know we want the public and the community to know what's in the Depop, but putting it on top of the CAC is possibly not the way of getting that delivered. So I'd ask people to think about that next year as another mechanism, to see if there's not another mechanism to consult with the public about the Depop. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions, comment? No. All in favour? Against is carried. Over to the Community Advisory Committee, Scone District on the page 44. Mover, move Councillor Williamson. Seconder, Councillor Fraser. Any questions, comment, discussion? No. All in favour? Against is carried. Over to page 48 is Council Committee's membership nomination. That Council will appoint Fiona Caban to the White Park Management User Group Committee. Got a mover for that. Move Councillor Shields. Seconder, Councillor Williamson. Any questions, comment? All in favour? Against is carried. Over to page 51 is the delivery program 2025, 2026, 2028 to 2029 and the operational plan 2026, 2027. There's a recommendation. Councillor Ryan.
I'll move for the recommendation.
Move for the recommendation as is. Seconded by Councillor Williamson. Councillor Shields.
I'd like to make an amendment to that plan.
Okay, well, we better listen to the amendment. Move for the amendment. I've got a mover of it. So you need to move the amendment?
Move the amendment.
Second the amendment. Okay. Councillor Shields.
I want to change one small thing, and the financial implication of this will be negligible, and that is to remove the landing fee for an aircraft over 20,000 kilograms from $5,950 per landing to $1,320, including GST.
Point of order. Shouldn't this be in the discussion on rates and charges, not in the Depop.
Depop's part of the rates and charges, Mr GM, that correct?
One of the submissions to the Depop was a change to the fees and charges, which address this. I think you could deal with it in either, and we'll accept it in either of them.
As a submission, well, hadn't there been a submission, it may have been different, so just order,
If you wish to adopt the Depop as it is,
I think I'll
I
hear, I think I'll
do-
hear,
I
I
think
think
deal
I'll
with
hear
it
the
in the
amendment.
operational plan,
Carry
yeah,
on,
because it's
councillor
part of the
Shields.
fees. Yep.
Yes, so given that the three large aircraft that did meet this category on a regular basis have now departed, the financial impact on council's funding or council's finances for the next 12 months will be absolutely negligible, because there aren't very many aircraft that come to Scone that meet that criteria. Now, the AVDATA criteria for charging this is actually flawed in that they charge it off the maximum takeoff weight of these aircraft, which is 51 tonnes, but they won't ever land with 51 tonnes, but I suppose that's a moot point. I make no apologies for wanting to adopt this, because informal discussions I've had with people out at the airport is we have not necessarily lost those aircraft forever.
Just hold there, councillor Shields, can we just... Yeah, just don't get too far into specific aircraft.
But I think we have an opportunity, there is an opportunity for us to develop a good business opportunity out of this, and I think by changing this to the $1,320 a tonne, we are making a good faith statement publicly that might allow us to re-enter negotiations for a development which I think would be beneficial to the Shire as a whole. I've done some numbers, and if you take an aircraft up to 19,999 kilograms, for a locally based aircraft, that's $281 a tonne, per tonne. Sorry, $281.25 total, which is $14.06 per tonne at the top end of that range. It makes no sense that an aircraft at 20,001 kilos would be charged $5,950 based on maximum takeoff weight, which is what AVDATA does. When I did some work about other regional airports in New South Wales, there's no one similar to us that doesn't have an RPT service. So the Tamworths and the Dubbos and the Alburys and Waggers, they get significant income from a regular RPT service, and those aircraft, if it's Rex, it's less than 20 tonnes. If it's Qantas, it's above 20 tonnes. And it just seems to me that we are creating a burden for ourselves, and we should take the opportunity to make a good faith statement to the wider community that we would like to see the situation change. It has been said in various meetings that there's an exponential component to this. When you look at the rates per tonne, there is no rhyme or reason to it. There is no consistent exponential factor. In fact, for a 15-tonne aircraft, the rate per tonne drops to $1.88 per tonne for that aircraft to land. And if it's a corporate jet, a charter, and if it's a jet, they come in at a higher landing speed. The stresses to the tarmac pavement, I don't know, I haven't got the information on that, but it just seems to me that they would be equally as damaging, and we get a few of those in around about Scone Cup Day. So it just doesn't make sense that we're targeting a particular weight category of aircraft. And I don't even know why we want that much money from them, on the basis that we think they do that much more damage to our runway. It just doesn't make sense. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Shields. I was just trying to bring up how many of those actual planes use it, but I just can't find it there.
Is there a motion?
Well, that's an alteration to the Depop.
Have you given her the text? You've given Robin the text?
Yeah, Robin's got it.
Robin's got it, yeah.
Sorry, I'm waiting for the other eye to get done. Yeah. Look, I'll just speak against the amendment if it makes things easier. The advice we've been given is planes of that weight will shorten the life of their runway, full stop. On that premise, I can't see any reason why we're, as you put it, opening the gates, but we're opening the gates to a maintenance bill that will not be compensated by the lower fee. So sorry, Earl, I can't support you one moment for this one. Thank you.
Against. I think it must be a very big serviette that Councillor Shields has for these big numbers, because we've engaged in independent reports of people who actually do this for a living, and it's been made very clear that these types of aircraft at this significant weight significantly reduce the lifespan of the tarmac of our airport. We don't have the surface of Wagga or Albury. These are airports that actually have commercial flights, and their surface is very different. I've been on council, this is my second term, and even before I was on council, this airport has been a very, very big problem. It's still running at a loss. This is just going to increase the significant damage and going to put more pressure on ratepayers for swooning people that may or may not come. And I just don't think that we're in the business of doing that. If we have a bridge that says maximum weight tonnage is 2 tonne, we don't then just say, okay, you can go over it with your 3 tonne truck because you may actually bring 10 people to the region and they may live here. This is built on something that's very prudent. We don't want these aircraft landing on a regular basis because they simply destroy the tarmac, and simply cannot support this.
Thank you. We got the motion up there, or the recommendation.
Just for clarity, through you, Mr. Chair, now that we go back to our old model, if this doesn't get up, does it lost, or do we need to put a foreshadow up?
We'll go back, if this now is the new recommendation is lost, we'll go back to the original recommendation, which is on the, unless someone wants to foreshadow the original after that. I just did look up there, Council, there was 10, I think, 10 landings of that weight.
Through you, Mr. Chair, did they all pay?
That's not in that little part of that. Okay, so we've got that up there, and we've got Councillor Shields has moved it to add to that part of the depot, and Councillor Stoltz, I believe, seconded it. Okay, all clear of what we're doing here? Okay, I'm going to put the motion of Councillor Shields, recommendation of Councillor Shields is up. Those in favour is Councillor Shields, Collison, Williamson and Stoltz. Thank you, Councillor Stoltz. Against? Councillor Ryan, McPhee, McGill and Fraser. Thank you, Councillor Stoltz. Councillor, I can see all parts of this direction. Fighting very, very hard to still get money, and there's rumours around, we believe we can get money to upgrade that to a hot mix runway. I believe there is capabilities of us bringing some bigger planes in to work out of our shire. Where they come from, I don't know and I don't care.
Sorry, Mr. Chair, before you vote, you've just said rumours about money. Can you please clarify what that means? Because unless we have a contract with an amount of money that says we can actually upgrade this, well, I'm not quite sure if that would go into the mix.
You told me today that you believed a member that you knew.
Excuse me, but that is not something that should be brought up now. And I'm not saying, did I say that there was any?
Okay, well, I'll overrule you, Councillor McPhee. I've spoken to the Minister for Tourism to try and get them up here, and the reason for all that is I've spoken to other ministers, it's to get them up here with a good plan forward of why we want the runway. The runway at the moment is not up to the standard. There is no money to bring it up to the standard with the Gill Guides, and the only way we're going to bring it up to standard is with 100% grant funding, with a business case behind it. So we're not going to get, no, I can't have you keep speaking on the motion. I only spoke once.
I'm asking for clarification.
Righto, clarification only.
So the clarification is that you do not have confirmation that we actually have the money to have this upgraded.
No, the only confirmation I had, we had some funding and we had to put it back because we want 100% funding. But anyway, that's irrelevant. So I'm going to vote for the new recommendation. So that is passed. Thank you.
I will foreshadow a rescission motion at our next meeting.
Well, it won't be a rescission motion at the next meeting. Oh, yeah, rescinded motion. Yep, that's fine.
Can I clarify that all the other points were part of Councillor Shields, or have they been lost? Because we need to adopt the Depop.
Well, the Depop now, you're going to go with the rest of the Depop as is?
Adopt the rest of the Depop. There was just one line item in the Depop, that's all it is.
Right, so that's gone back now into the Depop, the change of the Depop, right, Mr General Manager?
Yeah, Mr Mayor, all I'm after is clarification that we've actually, Council has also adopted the balance of the Depop, because that was only discussing one item on the fees and charges. And I don't think that was
No,
part
so
of
we really
Councillor
haven't,
Shields.
but now that is part of the Depop, correct?
Can I
Councillor Ryan.
suggest that perhaps we should have dealt with it in seriatim and had 3 separate items? So we can now go, we can accept the amendment as an item, but we have to go back and if somebody wants to have the opportunity.
The amendment should be an addition to the existing rather than a replacement. At the moment, the amendment's replaced it.
That's correct.
Yeah. You must have a chair.
Excuse me, Councillor McGill,
Yes, sir.
withdraw that comment, please.
Which comment was that, sir?
You'd nice to have a chair.
Did I say that? Oh, I'll withdraw that.
You had the opportunity to speak during debate. Just because you lost your part of your voting, it doesn't seem to be going down well. We'll move on. Mr GM.
Mr Mayor, all we've done is had a motion to amend one fee and charge. We still need a council resolution to adopt the actual delivery program.
Right, so that is now in there. Got to move it. Councillor Shields.
I'd already moved it, but
Because Councillor Ryan's going to move it. We'll go back to the originals. Councillor Ryan moved the original. And Councillor Shields is going to second now.
No, it's already been seconded by.
Yeah, we're going to start again now. Right, so Councillor Ryan is now moving it, and Councillor Shields is seconding the Depop. All in favour?
What?
I don't know what I'm voting on.
Do we not get to speak to it?
You can speak to now the delivery program,
Correct.
which
I
this
thought-
other is added.
What are we voting on? It's all got a bit silly here.
It's very simple. We're now voting on the original delivery program on page 51.
Done.
Huh?
I wish to speak against it.
Right.
I recall when I stood for election that I opposed the SRV there, and nothing has changed my mind on that respect. The SRV was asking the ratepayers of Upper Hunter to pay for the shortfalls that really should have been paid by the state and federal governments. The SRVs were because we have a structural problem in regional councils and the ratepayers are paying for it, when quite frankly the other tiers of government should start to support regional councils appropriately. Having said that, dear ratepayers, I'm satisfied that this Depop is the best way to organise the monies that we have. I don't see any wastage in there. I think the staff have done a good job in bringing something forward, but I will continue to maintain structurally this is a box-ticking exercise. This council will limp from one payroll to the next because that's the way the structure is. And it's nothing to do, and no fault of the General Manager or any council employee or the councillors. It's a fault of a structure that just puts us on the back foot from day one. And as such, this Depop is just another, as I say, box-ticking exercise that does not resolve any of the issues. I'm not convinced that we've got a solution to our cash flow issues. We've had issues in the past with cash flow where we've had to use money from accounts that the Office of Local Government has very clearly said we are not to do again. As for some of the responses, a lecture on civics from a failed candidate. Fascinating. If only he understood section 116 of the Australian Constitution. Ladies and gentlemen, the Depop is what it is. It is an admission that we will manage our finances, but our finances are crap. We don't have the money to do what people want. In an ideal world, we would be giving every resident an all-weather road to their front gate. We know we can't deliver that. We'll fix the roads we can fix, and next year we'll fix some more roads, and we'll keep fixing roads. But we'll never get roads fixed to the satisfaction of every resident because we just don't have the funds to do it all magically over one weekend. It'll come 1 metre at a time. So I continue to oppose this. I continue to oppose the SRV. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Ryan.
So I haven't spoken for, but I assume that I can just close the debate on this item.
As long as no one else wishes to speak prior to.
Well, I wish to speak for. Yeah. I speak for the Depop because I don't see, we have the money we have, and I think what we've done in this budget, and I'd like to thank the staff and everybody who's worked on this because they've really tried to get blood from a stone, and I just really appreciate the hard work they're putting into this. If it's any consolation to Councillor McGill, last week the General Manager and I were at ALGA in Canberra, and there was a very definite change in mood from last year to this year. Councils all around the country are very frustrated with the modelling from the federal government, which then feeds down to state government. There was a motion put ahead that it should go from, the federal funding should go from 0.5 to 1%. It used to be over 2%, which the modelling in itself is flawed, but I mean, if you're going to get half or 1% of something, you take the 1%. But the frustration was palpable in the room, and we're talking about hundreds of councils. This is an issue that every single regional council is facing, and the message was loud and clear to the current government, which they basically turned their backs on.
Thank you, Councillor McPhee. Councillor Ryan, you're going to close debate. No, Councillor Williamson.
Yeah, if I could speak to the budget. I find this budget actually to be quite a positive budget, and I think it can get lost in the mire of certain conversations we've just had. I thought it precedent that I did speak my mind. It's a very boring budget. If we're out there for excitement, this is not the one. It's a conservative budgeting approach, and it's looking at our financial sustainability, which is what the community have desired. And I think from our workshops in recent history, there's been a great focus on bringing everything back to core business. Now, that's something that's happened across local government throughout New South Wales, but no more so in the Upper Hunter. We've definitely drawn the outer reaches of our finances towards core business, roads, sewer and water, and this budget really does focus a larger proportion than prior of our operational works into those areas. So I think it's actually a very positive budget, a boring one, but positive, and I think the council is committing to what the residents asked, and they asked that we stay to the core businesses that we are responsible for. And even though there are financial challenges, and there always are, there always will be, we're doing the best with what we've got. We're very fortunate to receive a mildly improved cash flow, and we've also very fortunate to have been able to successfully conclude all of our very large projects, which we've done admirably. We've opened the Willow Tree Road, a $48 million project this year. We've opened the new Main Street in Scone, a $26 million project. We've spent nearly $20 million, I believe, up the tops, all on budget or below budget, which is remarkable. So I put forward this Depop. Again, I'm going to say it's not awe-inspiring, and that's something we probably need to look at, because we do need a direction from here. But this is not the point of this time, and our direction is to focus on core business. We are doing that now, and I put it forward to councillors that we need to look forward at what the next step is for the Upper Hunter Shire Council. We are doing quite well within an organisation at looking after our core, but what strategically is our next step? Now, that's a challenge for you all, but I commend the Depop to the council.
Thank you, Councillor Williamson. Councillor Stoltz, you...
It just quickly, Mr Mayor, touching on some of Councillor McGill's comments. The NRMA have come out recently and they've said there's approximately 2.8 billion infrastructure backlog in our roads, and I've got no doubt that our residents and ratepayers are going to share some of their angst and direct that towards council and the individual councillors. Unfortunately, that is the reality. We've got what we've got with our Depop, but it's not only our council, it's quite a significant amount of councils experience this issue with the lack of enough funding for our rural and regional roads. But yeah, if we can assure our community that the roads issue, and that's one that I get thrown at me every day in Merriwar, it is significant, it is a lot of money, and it is out of our grasp at the moment, and we need this Labor government, state and federal, to do something about it and kick the tin while they are in government. They're quite good, Labor, talking about what they'll do in opposition, and then when they get to government, things tend to not happen. Thanks, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Shields. Okay, Councillor Ryan, to close debate.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I agree with each of the councillors that have spoken before me, and they're absolutely right on all the points that they raise. And I think the key point which we conveyed to the communities when we presented the Depop was that a substantial part of this budget is actually unfunded. And I would argue that we are running a significant deficit budget rather than a balanced budget, on the basis that we don't really know how much of that unfunded, be it operational, capital works programs, is going to come forward in the next year. So I think that's the key thing. I think anybody who feels comfortable with the fact that we are, to varying degrees, uncomfortable with this is actually a good thing, because what it points to is the heart of this issue, which is the structural problem that we have with our funding. And we just don't have enough of our own revenue, and we're beholden to those other state and federal funding sources. So, yeah, I'm pleased to say that we've actually tried to address that, and this was a recommendation that we made through our own internal Depop review to try and highlight those items in our budget which are unfunded. I think it's important that people recognise that. And I agree very much with the idea that we have very much come back to basics, to core business, and we are, and those areas we're funding the extent that we can. Unfortunately, even they're not fully funded. and are reliant on getting in some of that state and federal funding to meet those requirements. So there's very, very little discretionary spending in this budget, if there's any at all. So I think, yeah, we can all feel a little uncomfortable with it. On that basis, I think it's actually a good budget for that reason, in that it is prudent. And I just, again, want to highlight and re-emphasise the fact that a substantial part of this budget is unfunded. And, you know, we'll go out there as hard as we can and seek to get those dollars and get our fair share. But that's the reality within which we're working. So to take Councillor McVeigh's line, I commend the staff on putting the budget together, and thank you for their hard work in doing it. I'd love it to be a truly balanced budget. It isn't. It is what it is, yeah, and yeah, mine as well, yeah. So I commend the Depop to you for all of its faults that it may have. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Ryan. Okay, councillors, we'll just put the as is. All those in favour? It's Collison, Williamson, Stoltz, Shields, Ryan, McPhee, Ed Fraser, and against is Councillor McGill. The recommendation is passed. Over to page 74, making the rates and annual charges for 2026-2027.
Mr Mayor, can I
That's a
just,
small amendment, isn't it?
just point out to councillors that just on page 74, there's a lot of numbers, and I apologise for that, but at the very bottom of that page, in the second last line, there's a mixed development business rate for Scone. It currently reads 0.0065520. It should be 0062520. If we can make that amendment, please.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Would someone like to move with that small amendment, please? Councillor Shields, seconder. Councillor Williamson. Questions, comment, discussion? All in favour? Against is carried. Down to page 83. Determination of the Mayor and Councillor fees for 2026-2027.
I suspect we haven't actually voted to, we voted to accept the amendment, but we didn't vote to accept the recommendation.
We voted for the amendment on the Depop.
Yeah.
We voted for
No,
the...
for fixing the rates.
Oh, the rates.
Greg just announced an amendment to what the papers before us, and I thought we were voting on that amendment.
That's what was announced.
No, I believe the Mayor put the recommendation with that slight
With
change.
that slight amendment was the wording I used,
So you adopted the recommendation as it was with that change.
with a small amendment.
That typographical error.
We're getting picky tonight, councillors. That's our job. Okay, over to page 83. Recommendation, councillors, two parts of it in front of you.
I move that the fees, the councillor fees, remain frozen as they are today. And if we want to vote separately on a second one, I'd happily move to not pay superannuation. If we've got a seconder for both.
Just clarity, Mr GM, is that CPI rise?
Yes, I believe there was about a $750 increase, which was about a 3% or 3.7% increase.
Can we legally freeze that?
Yes, you can. You can adopt any figure between the minimum and the maximum fee,
I know.
which are in that table that's provided in the report.
You wish to put that forward, make it clear what? That's moved?
Move, frozen the fee.
Yep.
And and the reason for that is we've asked the community to come to us through an SRV.
Yep.
And budget-wise,
Point of order. We need a seconder to move the debate.
That's right. So we've got a seconder. Well, then he has to explain, and he explained a little bit overboard, but okay. So a seconder for the amendment to the councillor fees. Thank you, Councillor Fraser. Okay, you wish to speak, councillor Williamson now, as the mover, add more to it?
I better speak. Thank you, Councillor McGill. Yeah, the reason for suggesting a freeze on this is we've gone out to the community and asked for an SRV of 33%, and that is due to financial difficulties. The councillor and mayor fee is on the upper end of the fee schedule, and I think we should be happy to accept as is, and if not, we're happy to vote accordingly.
Thank you. Councillor Fraser, the seconder.
Yes, I would in fact go further. I second the proposition by Councillor Williamson, but I would like to see it go further. In fact, that councillors, realistically, I think we could probably manage quite nicely on the minimum payment. It is a community service that we are providing. It is an aspect of public service that we're providing. I would also suggest that the mayor's fee should be the minimum amount as well. Taking all those savings into account, we would come a very long way to funding the position of a new Director of Corporate Services, which I think is an important thing that we need to properly oversee the finances of council. I commend Councillor Williamson for his proposal, and indeed, if his proposal is unsuccessful, my proposal would be that we go further, reduce the payments to the minimum, both of councillors and of the mayor. But we'll deal with Councillor Williamson's motion to start with.
Okay, councillor Williams, so you're gone minimal on councillor fees.
No, frozen.
Frozen, sorry, and you've gone superannuation, nil. Was that part of your original?
Yes, that was.
That's included?
Yep.
Nil superannuation? Right. Just again, can we do that legally?
Yes, I believe we can. And you could take Councillor Fraser's proposed motion as a foreshadowed motion if you wished at this stage.
Yep.
If that's the case, I'll formally foreshadow that, but I'll also foreshadow that I would also say that, again, I agree with Councillor Williamson that we shouldn't be being paid superannuation as well. So my foreshadowed motion would be minimum amounts for councillors, minimum amount for the additional allowance for the mayor, no superannuation. That's my foreshadow.
Okay, that's a foreshadowed, okay. So we've got a mover for the councillor Williamsons. And we've also got a seconder. So you have seconding, but then you've got the foreshadowed in the background. Okay, any other speakers?
Just clarification. Last year, did we agree to pay super?
Yes, council resolved that it would pay the 12% super last year. This would obviously change that back to zero super if it was adopted tonight.
And the fact that we didn't
Councillor
get paid super last year?
Councillor McGill, if we're going to follow the rules and regulations, would you stand, please, and go through them?
Yeah, just want to clarify then, if we voted for superannuation year, is there some reason we didn't get paid it?
I think most of the councillors that submitted their paperwork have been paid the superannuation, but we're still chasing a couple up. But to the best of my knowledge, Mr Phelps might be able to give us an update, but I was of the impression that all the councillors that had submitted paperwork have been paid.
I can tell you that's a false impression.
It's paid through the super guarantee system, so it's with the tax office at the moment. So we paid you interest as well as the actual super contribution coming through. So the movement from there, and from the first quarter, this quarter, was paid to your super fund only about a week ago.
Okay, no other speakers, for or against? Councillor Shields.
I'm happy to accept Councillor Williamson's proposal to freeze the
Councillors?
councillor payment, but I would like to see the restoration of superannuation. I'm an old bloke, and every bit of superannuation I can get, I need. So I would like to see that restored. And I think financially, I don't think it's a huge impact on council's budget.
Okay, councillor Shields, you understand how we're going to put the motion that councillor Williamson has moved? If that gets up, that will be the motion. If it goes down, councillor Fraser has a foreshadow in the background. You'd have to foreshadow again in the background to, if that's lost, to keep your superannuation. Councillor
Mr. Mayor,
Ryan.
to simplify, just for clarification, it may help councillor Shields if we deal with those two items separately, to save going back and having it over the same motion twice. So if we just deal with item 1 and then with item 2 with the same mover, well, I know mover and
Completely
second, but
depending
change for
on
second.
the mover and the seconder.
Look, I'm happy, and that makes sense.
Yep.
Thank you, councillor.
Councillor Fraser, you're happy with that? Yes. Yep, okay, councillors, so we're only going on dot point 1. Determine that the councillor and mayor fee remain as for the current 25-26 financial year. We're going to put that motion as
Possible I can speak against it?
yeah,
Yeah, I oppose it. Thank you.
thank you.
It's tokenistic, it's politics, doesn't mean anything. 9 times $750 is all it's saving. It's tokenistic.
Saving on that budget. Anyway, we're not going to get into debate. We're going to put the motion as is on the board. In favour of councillor Williamson's, it's Collison, Williamson, Shields, Ryan, McPhee. Against is councillor McGill, Fraser and Stoltz. That dot point 1 is passed. Now we move on to dot point 2, is not pay superannuation on the mayoral and councillor fees set in accordance with the Superannuation Guarantee Administration Act 1992.
For clarity, Mr. Mayor, so that's an amendment, right? So if this goes down, we go to the original before we go to a foreshadow, correct? Yeah,
That
no.
dot point goes down.
But councillor Williamson has made an amendment to the not pay superannuation, correct?
It's a new motion, it was only a recommendation, so that's his motion.
Yes, but in mine it says to pay, and here it says not pay. So what I'm saying is, if that's an amendment to the original motion.
No, this is the motion, councillors. So the motion before you is to not pay superannuation. There is no other motion foreshadowed because councillor Fraser's foreshadowed motion also included the same words, that you don't pay superannuation. However, without a foreshadowed motion, it doesn't really have an impact because you've also resolved previously to adopt superannuation, and that resolution that has been adopted 12 months ago would flow through without any change to it.
Yep. So we're all clear. So dot point 2 goes down now. We just carry on as superannuation paid. Councillor
Mr
Shields.
Mayor, I'd like to foreshadow.
Well, he can, depends what he wishes to.
Well, I want to foreshadow that superannuation be paid.
Well, it will be if this motion is lost. Yeah, righto. If this motion is lost, there's no need because it will be paid anyway.
Just a point of order, this is actually has the effect of being a rescission motion for a decision we made last year. It's not being treated as such.
No, because, councillors, through you, Mr Mayor, because the decision is made more than 3 months following the previous decision, you don't need to rescind the older decision.
Okay? Righto, so I'm just putting that very clear at dot point 2. If it's lost, Councillor Shields, you still wish to put a foreshadowed, even though that will go back to getting paid as usual, if this is lost.
If it's lost, we revert to last year's decision.
If it's lost, we'll just revert to last year's decision.
Yep. Unless you've got something different to say in your foreshadow. So you'll tell me if I put this up and it's lost. Okay? Putting it up as on the board, not to pay superannuation. Those in favour is Councillor Williamson, Councillor Fraser. Against is Councillor Stoltz, Shields, Ryan, McPhee, McGill and Collison. You happy? Okay, that is passed. Thank you. Over to page 86. Long-term financial plan, public exhibition. 3 points of the recommendation. Move councillor Ryan, seconder. Councillor Williamson. Questions, comment, discussion? Councillor Fraser.
In reviewing the figures that form the basis of the long-term financial plan, I have some concerns about the numbers going forward for expenditure that is anticipated. It, to me, seems optimistic. The long-term financial plan indicates that there is anticipated to be an increase in funding and receipts over the period of the long-term financial plan, but there is almost a flat line for expenditures going forward over the, or very close to a flat line going forward over the estimates for the long-term financial plan. I have some concerns, and I think that that is overly optimistic, and we will probably find that we will end up running deficits just on the basis that I think we probably are not anticipating an increase in fees, a sufficient increase in costs, fees and whatever else are necessary as part of the ongoing business of council, as part of the figures that have been projected. That's my concern with these numbers.
Yeah, Mr Jim, does Wayne wish to come up and respond to that?
I was going to say, if you want a response, councillors, I'm happy for Mr Phelps to actually come up and provide a response. We did go through some of this at the workshop, but not all councillors were there, so I'm happy for Mr Phelps to give a brief overview.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Overall, it's very conservative, the budget. The actual higher expenditure to start off with in the earlier years relates to flood damage coming through, and there's a gradual increase in CPI over the course of the expenditures coming through, as well as our income streams as well. So we've gone through a very conservative process. We've dropped a lot of the capital expenditure out, based on the fact that we do not know whether we'll be obtaining any of that capital expenditure. So we've looked at it from that on a conservative basis as well. So I'm pretty confident that the numbers are pretty stacked up.
Mr Mayor, I'd probably also, if this goes out on exhibition for 28 days, I'm more than happy to run another workshop with the councillors. We can go through some of the numbers again midway through the consultation process.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Yeah, I was just going to reiterate the same point. This recommendation to endorse the plan simply puts us on a footing where we can actually take it to the public. We do, and it will come back to us. We can look at it more closely. We've had a couple of long sessions reviewing it now. There will be further opportunity. Again, I'd say the same as I said with regard to the Depop. You know, a lot of what we're looking at long-term financial plan is in the hope that we're going to get funding for a lot of things. And yes, it doesn't increase a lot of fees and services. That obviously may change on a yearly basis, but I'd be very interested to see what feedback we get on putting up to public submission, if any, and I look forward to receiving the report back to council on those submissions and any other considerations that councillors have in the meantime.
Thank you. Any other questions, comment? Okay, we'll put the motion. Favour? Against? Motion is carried. Okay, over to policies for review on page 89. The mover. Move Councillor Ryan. Seconder. Councillor Williamson. Questions, comment? Councillor Shields.
I just want to make a comment that to have 17 policies for one council meeting just seems to me to be inequitable. The attachment that goes with this is 600 pages. I would like to see council adopt a drip feeding policy Obviously, if there's mandatory requirements that we have to report by a particular date, I have no problem with that. But if these have just all suddenly come up because there's a date on a policy that says it should rather than must be reviewed now, I would just like to see it just split up a little bit easier than it is. If we had 2 of those every council meeting, we'd get through them in a year.
Thank you. Now, the councillors, does the mover wish to speak before I open up debate? Right.
Yeah, just make
Councillor
one point.
Ryan.
Thank you. So again, I agree with Councillor Shields. It is a lot to digest. On the other side of the coin, I'd also like to emphasise the importance of having these policies available. Obviously, there are 1,000,001 different circumstances whereby a policy or a plan may need to be applied. And until you're actually in that circumstance, you don't really know. So whilst we're going now and looking at from a point of view of approving on the basis that it's fit for purpose, to some extent, I guess we have to assume that it is. But what it will be very important is when an instant does arrive where we have to apply the policy, and I think in that context accessibility is really important. Both to councillors and the public. So if we can ensure that they're published and readily available, I think that's equally as important as getting it right in the first instance.
Thank you. Any other speakers for or against?
Yeah, look, I just want to echo what Councillor Shields just said, and I said that earlier in the year when we got presented with a number of policies. The way my eyes are playing up at the moment, you can take it rest assured I haven't read all of these. It's just impossible for me at the moment. Dear ratepayers, this is how we earn our money, 600 pages. I just don't think this works as a proposition, but I suppose, encouraged the General Manager in discussion has said that he will issue us with a list of policies and expiry dates so we can start to actually take on what Councillor Shields is saying, which is to try and program this through the year at a level where we can actually give it genuine input.
Any other questions, comment? Councillor Ryan, you don't wish to end debate? If enough, okay, put the recommendation in favour. Is Collison, Williamson, Stoltz, Shields, Ryan, McPhee and McGill, and against is Councillor Fraser. Motion is carried. Over to page 92 is the Sewerage Developer Charges, DA number 163/2017. Oh, sorry, George. Councillor Fraser is leaving the room. Okay, Council, I think we're all aware of what this is all about. The recommendations is in front of you. Got a mover? Move, Councillor Ryan. Seconder, Councillor Williamson. Any questions, comment, debate?
It's a pragmatic decision that would otherwise we'd spend the same money, if not a lot more, to get the same result. So I can have to support this one.
Thank you. All in favour? Against? Motion is carried. Councillor Fraser, recommendation was passed as is. Okay, councillors, over to page 96, Disability Inclusion Plan, Action Plan 2026-2030. Mover, move Councillor Williamson, second Councillor Shields. Wish to speak, Councillor Williamson, you happy? All good? Any speakers, for or against? All in favour? Against is carried. Okay, councillors, someone like to move us into confidential? Move Councillor McGill, second Councillor Williamson. All in favour? Against? Carried.